India has sent its biggest ever delegation to Davos 2026 World Economic Forum, a power-packed team with at least 4 union ministers, 6 chief ministers, and over 100 top CEOs. This isn't just a visit for photo ops or polite panel discussions. The mission is clear. Sell India's growth story to the world and correct the perceptions that doesn't match with today's reality. That pushback was clearly visible in a major session on the global AI power play. Representing India was IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. On the panel was also IMF leadership, and when India was placed in the second group of AI powers, the minister didn't hold back. He challenged the classification head-on, arguing that India belongs in the first league of AI nations. Here is a case for you.
So, Ashwini, incredible talent base, fastest growing major economy in the world, an AI player, but clearly in the second grouping that Kristalina is talking about, have to think about alignments with the United States or China to a degree, but how much do you have to think about that as a country like India? How much can you chart your own course irrespective of what the Americans and Chinese are doing?
Actually, clearly in the first group, and the reason for that is there are 5 layers in the AI architecture: the application layer, the model layer, the chip layer, the infra layer, and the energy layer. We are working on all the 5 layers, making very good progress in all the 5 layers. On the application layer, we will probably be the biggest supplier of services to the world. Go to an enterprise, understand the business of enterprise, understand the working of that enterprise, and provide that service using AI applications. That's going to be the biggest factor of success or successful deployment of AI, because that's where ROI comes from. ROI doesn't come from creating a very large model. 95% of the work can happen with models which are 20 billion or 50 billion parameters. We are creating a bouquet of such models. We already have a bouquet of such models which are now being deployed in multiple sectors to increase the productivity, to increase the efficiency, to increase the effective use of technology. So our focus is very much on making sure that AI diffusion happens in a very big way. And I don't know what the IMF criteria has been, but Stanford places India as third in terms of AI penetration, in terms of AI preparedness, and in terms of AI talent. All the 3, actually on AI talent it is number 2. So I don't think your classification in the second bouquet is right. It's actually in the first.
Vaishnaw explained that AI leadership isn't decided by one metric. It's built on 5 layers: applications, models, chips, infrastructure, and energy. And according to him, India is working on all 5 with strong progress across each layer. He also cited global rankings pointing out that Stanford places India among the top countries for AI penetration, preparedness, and talent, even ranking India number 2 in AI talent. And India's case doesn't stop at AI. Economically, the momentum is hard to ignore. India is the fastest growing major economy in the world. The same IMF has upgraded India's growth forecast sharply from 6.6 to 7.3 from the current fiscal year. That's not just optimism, that is confidence backed by numbers. India is also sending a strong signal that it is opening up faster than ever. India has signed a free trade deal with the United Kingdom, concluded another with New Zealand, and a major deal with European Union is expected soon. Talks are also underway with Canada. The message from New Delhi is simple. India is not stepping back from global trade. India is stepping forward. Back home too, the reform pushes continues. 2025 was projected as a year of reforms, and major changes were rolled out across labor laws, GST restructuring, nuclear regulations, space policy, and foreign investment. At Davos, India wants the world to see these reforms not as announcements, but as a proof that India is ready for business and ready for scale. This was also the theme for a special session. Can India become the 3rd largest economy? And the answer from Minister Vaishnaw was an emphatic yes. Not maybe, not someday. He said it's not even a question of if, it's only a question of when. Right now, India is the 4th largest economy in the world. Ahead of it are the United States, China, and Germany. But the growth gap is massive. Germany is growing at around 1%, India is growing at 7 to 8%. So mathematically, the debate is shrinking by the day, and that's where economist Geeta Gopinath added a key timeline. She believes India could overtake Germany by 2028, possibly even earlier depending on GDP recalibration. Gopinath highlighted challenges India must tackle to unlock the next phase of growth. including land acquisition, clean land titles, judicial reforms, and faster scaling. She pointed out that while India's demographic dividend is often discussed, labor has contributed only about 30% of India's growth since the 1980s, showing that India still has room to build a more labor-driven, manufacturing-friendly economy. Meanwhile, Indian CEOs are also set to take center stage. Donald Trump is hosting a special reception in Davos. Certain Indian business leaders have reportedly been invited, including the chairman of Tata Sons, the head of the Mahindra Group, the CEO of Infosys, the CEO of Wipro, and the chairman of Bajaj Financial Services. And the irony here is hard to miss. This is the same Trump who once called the Indian economy dead. But today he is owing Indian business leaders because India's growth story has become too big to ignore. Still, the IT minister has made it clear there will be no trade talks on the sideline. India's focus at Davos is not bargaining, it's brand. India wants the world to understand its growth journey, its reform drive, its technological age, and its expanding public digital infrastructure. And there is more. Minister Vaishnav has floated an ambitious idea, an autumn Davos hosted in India between September and November. It's a proposal that reflects India's confidence, not just participating in global conversations, but shaping them. Because while many leaders in Davos are consumed by geopolitics, wars, and uncertainty, India is doubling down on economics, trade, technology, and progress. India is reaffirming its commitment to globalization and free markets at a time when much of the world seems to be pulling back. And perhaps that is the biggest headline from Davos this year. While others bring noise, India is bringing direction. This is Neha Samantrai signing off. You're watching Crazy Bites, news that impacts your education and career.